Whether you're just getting into motorcycles or you're a seasoned rider, we all need a bike that complements our riding style, the roads we ride, and something a little less talked about: height.
Thought you was good, huh? Take you out back, Drake through the woods, huh? Thought I was weak, huh? You ain't see the work I put in all week, huh? Give me that, where the city at? Nitty gritty, this ain't gonna be pretty, Jack. Not afraid, get up out the way. Y'all used to hate, look at what you made.
Before we get into the video, I want to give a big thank you to BMW of Ventura for hooking it up with the F900R for today's review. If you live in Ventura or Los Angeles County and you're in the market for a BMW, highly recommend checking out their dealership. It goes without saying that motorcycles aren't built for tall people. Reason being, the global average height is 159 centimeters for women and 171 centimeters for men. That's 5'2" for women and 5'6" for men. I'm 6'8". Of course, if the market had more taller riders, manufacturers would build bikes in their favor, but that's just not the case. This then of course limits the amount of bikes us taller riders can ride. If I'm being honest, I'm probably too tall for 90% of the motorcycles that are going to be reviewed on this channel, but every bike is different and worth testing to see how it rides. First on our list is the 2020 BMW F900R. With a max horsepower of 105 coming from a parallel twin 895cc motor, this long fella manages to put out 67 foot-pounds of torque at 6,500 RPMs. It's also pretty heavy with a curb weight of 465 pounds. With a seat height of 30 to 34 inches available by swapping out different seat heights, the F900R actually could fit us taller riders above 6 feet. To an extent, of course. The current seat height of this bike is set to 30 inches with me on it, but I still can't help but feel squished since most of my height comes from my legs rather than from my upper body. Appearance-wise, I'm definitely a fan. This bike is a huge level up from the heavily criticized older brother, the R850R. They've taken the round vintage headlight and gave it a facelift similar to the look of a KTM Super Duke, which, from hearing opinions online, is a bit of a hit or miss. The double barrel shotgun looking exhaust does create a fairly nice sound, especially at high speeds, but it's just too big and bulky. A tail tidy kit is also definitely a must. This photo by user Chronicide submitted to the Biker Grid subreddit shows what this bike could look like with some good mods on it. Reminds me of an MV Agusta dragster, and I'm all for it. By the way, you should join our community Biker Grid on Reddit. Share photos of your trips with friends and also see which bikes will be reviewed before they come out. Each week, I'll be featuring one of the photos you guys submit into one of the YouTube videos, so make sure you go post your favorite motorcycle shots into the Biker Grid subreddit. I also asked other Reddit members what they'd like me to review about the F900R, and you guys came through, so thank you. User Alpha Jerry brought up the question, how is it in low gears? Handling at low speeds, coming out of a stop, town center, neighborhood, traffic, all that. And my answer is actually very smooth. There's plenty of power at the wrist for those moments you just want to get by other cars or weave through traffic. And Alpha Jerry, to answer your second question, yes, I'm actually also very concerned about the amount of plastic that's on this bike. The F900R has quite a bit of plastic on it, and with this bike being heavy, dropping it would lead to you picking up a lot of broken plastic pieces off of the floor. I also highly recommend investing in a good bike cover so that all the elements with the wind, the rain, sunlight doesn't destroy the plastic on your motorcycle. User Frangible Cheese on Reddit, great username by the way, asks, how is it as a daily commuter, just going to the grocery store to pick up a gallon of milk? And in my opinion, even though I think that this bike is designed for the canyons over the track, I do see this bike being a good overall motorcycle. Suspension feels pretty solid. Keeping in mind that's not what it's built for stock. Looking at the customization options on the BMW website, the F900R actually has a lot to offer for those that want authentic BMW parts. The motorcycle comes in two colors for the base model. Black Storm Metallic is standard, and San Marino Blue Metallic can be purchased for an additional $125 US. The second package is called Sport Style, which also happens to be the exact trim of the bike that we're currently reviewing. This package costs $250 US and includes the racing red / silver metallic color scheme and also a passenger seat cover, granting you an excuse to not bring your girlfriend or partner out on a ride. BMW knows what's good. Some of these add-ons include a free extra high seat to bring you up to a ride height of 34 inches, adaptive headlight to light up the apex for when you lean more than 7 degrees, anti-theft alarm, heated grips, and saddlebag mounts for when you want to make this more of an all-around motorcycle. Base price for the F900R is $8,995, and for the most expensive package, you're looking at a total of about $12,590 US before tax. If you're just looking to ride in the canyons or at the track during the day, none of those extras are really needed. Third and final question comes from user Kinnick321 asking what the real-life tank range is for aggressive riding. Since this bike is still brand new, I can't exactly provide you with the most accurate answer. Reason one being that the engine has still not been broken in, and reason two being that I'm just too slow. But we can determine the exact numerical figure of petrol burned by taking the motorcycle's fuel tank capacity range of 3.4 gallons and cutting that number in half, resulting in you having to fill up your tank a shitload. And just go ahead and slide this off the tripod. Enough about the specs though. Let's just go ahead and do some moto vlogging action to see how this bike looks, sounds, and feels behind the bars.
I'm definitely too big for this bike, especially in a full suit with rear sets. You might be able to get a little bit more of a comfortable position, but as you can tell, the way I am right now, my knees are definitely on the tank, pretty tight. When I rode this without my suit on, it was definitely a little bit easier to fit on this. So I am going to be taking it careful. I haven't ridden and talked before. This is literally the first time I've ever done it, so got to make sure I keep my eyes open, pay attention at all times. Thankfully, California lets me lane split, and this bike is pretty skinny, which is nice. One thing I definitely like a lot is that the turn signal automatically turns off. You don't have to worry about that ever. But this bike just wants to go, man. I mean, when I used to ride the XSR 700 from Josh Heron, it doesn't compare to this. This bike is definitely smaller. The seat pushes you forward compared to the XSR where it just kind of falls off the back. There's nothing that pushes you forward. So this definitely feels a little bit more upright, kind of like a FZ09. I can definitely see this being comfortable for people that aren't as tall as I am, being 6'8", riding a bike designed for people probably like 5'6" and up. But she wants to go. Ooh, she wants to go, man. Wow. What a beast. Throttle response is actually really, really nice. It's not choppy. Suspension feels pretty solid. I'm not too heavy. I think I weigh about 190. Now keep in mind, you know, my knowledge with motorcycles is still fairly new. So as far as my reference points and my feedback, it might be different. And that's the nice thing about, you know, having you guys. You guys can correct me, make fun of me, whatever it is. You know, I learn a lot from other people. And there's nothing better to learn from people that know more than you. You know, that's what I always try to do, is surround yourself with people that make you better, that make you learn. That's why we take, you know, filmmaking courses, that's why we take cooking classes. You try to learn from people that are experienced, and that's what I hope to do with you guys. Give you guys my perspective, you know, from a lower skilled rider, and then get feedback from you guys that have been riding for years. Waiting for the right moment to pass this guy. I don't want to be a dick. Wide open throttle. Wow. This bike just goes, man. It just goes. It just keeps going. Wow. Take this for a little run in the canyons. It's a nice little section I always love riding. Takes us down into the rich area. Ooh, a little bump there. Handled it pretty well. Got some wavy roads here. Got to be careful, but there's usually quite a bit of gravel on these roads. Just enjoy the view for a moment. Try not to talk too much. Let you guys hear the bike, see it in its environment. Got some steep hills here. See how the engine braking does. Keep my core tight, arms loose. But I mean, overall, man, I'm impressed with this bike. I personally wouldn't buy it myself because of my height. If I was a little bit shorter, I can see this possibly fitting into the garage. It's very, very nimble, really clean throttle control. My only concern, and this might be irrelevant, but my only concern is really with the TFT dash. You know, being in the heat all day long, LED or LCD screens, they might have a tendency to overheat, especially if you're living in places like Texas or Arizona where it gets brutal hot. California can get pretty hot too, but nothing like those places. So depending on where you live, you know, it can get pretty toasty. So that's something to keep in mind. Pros and cons, you know, a metal tank is going to be stronger, or aluminum tank will be stronger, but if it does get dented, you're stuck with a dent. Where plastic is more affordable to replace, but is more likely to break. So those are things to keep in mind when you're thinking about buying a bike, buying this bike. I think for the price point, pretty solid price. I think it's a great starter bike and great intermediate, and you know, you probably could take it up to a more advanced level if you tune it, get some nice parts for it. If you guys are a newer rider, I definitely recommend taking it easy. Get some experience on bikes before you hop on something like this. You're going to be emotional, you know, you're going to be really happy, really excited, and those are the moments that you have to kind of ground yourself and think logically. Is this the right decision for you? Can you handle the power? And nobody wants to be that kind of person that can't handle power, of course. They don't understand it.
No, they always way back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't turn on the line.
I know. I did the same thing. I was like, scoot up, and they're like, no, no, no. Have a good one. For all you guys that drive cars and don't ride motorcycles, if you see this video and somebody on a bicycle or a motorcycle asks you to pull up, please do. Reason being is because they're trying to get you to trigger the sensor, because they can't trigger it because they're not heavy enough, or they may not have magnets on their bike to activate the system.
If you enjoyed the video, liking it is always encouraged. If you disliked it, let me know why in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell. And of course, thank you for watching. See ya.